Good afternoon. I am just trying to get myself. This is a little unusual for me. Normally, I'm in the Steam home, and now I'm in the Cliff House for Windows Mixed Reality, and so I'm going to start by kind of going over some just some basic information on how I've got my HP Reverb G2 controllers, how I've got them working, and so we'll kind of go from there. So basically what I'm looking at right now is my desktop. So I've got OBS Studios here. I say I got a little black here, but I'll work through it. So I'm basically going to go through some basically how I have things set up. So the first thing I'm going to do is go over and so in the Cliff House here, I can basically move myself around. So I'm going to go over on this side of the desktop. So I'm going to go up here and grab this and pull it down, hopefully. Come on. Whoops. Not what I wanted to do. Come on, just move down. Okay. So I'm in output preferences. I want to go back. So I'm going to back another one. So I'm going to go into resources and joystick configurations. And actually I'm gonna, since I'm a little, alrighty. So actually I'm gonna pull this over a little bit here. And so I created two custom joystick files for the HP Reverb G2. And those I put, let me find them. There they are. So HP Reverb G2 .joy left and right. And whoops, not sure why you moved. Some reason you moved on me. Not sure why. Back up. Oh, this is kind of new to me. Back up. So all this is kind of, this is the first time it's just certainly the first time I'm streaming in here. So so it's all kind of new, and I'm not, all of a sudden my height's kind of changed. So I created these two files. They're on xplain.org, but I want to go down to where the original Windows Mixed Reality files are. Right here. So basically what I did is I basically, instead of .joy, I put an underscore back. So these two files won't be used. So when xplain starts up, it's not going to look at these files. It's gonna look at the two custom files. So I'm going to go back up where I was. Come on. Move. Okay, so I'm going to open up one of these files. So on the Windows Mixed Reality Touch Controller, if you're over here in the Cliff House and you do a left click, not a left click. If you click on the menu button while you have this highlighted, you'll get this drop-down menu. And when I edit files, I use Notepad++. If I click on that, it opens it up. So the only problem is to put it way over here. So we'll play around a little bit. Get over here, back up. So I'm going to grab this guy and pull him down. So I can kind of like, and I'm going to come in. Whoops. all these movements are pretty big. So basically what I did is I took part of the information out of the old Windows Mixed Reality, and I also, I kind of used the format from the Valve Index controllers. So that's how I created this. And we'll see if I can do this. I'm not sure if I can. Yeah, I should be able to. Let me go over here. Back up a little bit and go down. I want to get one of the okay, let's see if I can do that with this one. Okay, cool. So now I have both of these files. And can I? Yep, move to new instance. So it moved it up here. So let me see which one. Okay. So this is the, over here. Okay, so yeah, let me slide, because there's a lot of white space here, so I can slide this over. Kind of. And then click on this to go over top, close. So, if you look, hello. What the heck happened here? I'm not sure what happened. Some reason I deleted that. I don't know how I did it, but like I said, this is all brand new. So if you look in the upper part of this, basically this is pretty much the same. If you look in here, you know, so to line 10, they're basically identical. Now on the original, you see view controller. Basically, this is the PNG file. Basically, the graphical, how X-Plane basically displays when you're in the joystick configuration area, how X-Plane shows it and where the buttons are and all that stuff. I got rid of that because this controller is not the same. So now when you look down in the lower part, down here in assignments, this one says Reserve Configuration Group 1 Touchpad. The G2 controller does not have a touchpad. It has a thumbstick. And so all this stuff is not correct. And it's why if you use the original files, you'll have a couple of axis settings up towards the top, you know, that basically are basically they won't work, you know, because it thinks there's a trackpad and there isn't. So those don't work. So I don't use any of that. So what I use is thumbstick. Thumbstick, just like what's on a Valve Index. And let me get it. Boy, so hard. So basically, I kind of like reconfigured this and figured out what the buttons are, what the axes are. So you see here, it's axis X, touchpad X, touchpad Y. I have them here. And the other difference is you see where this says touch. Because it's a thumbstick, the type is centerable. Where it says type touch, this is type centerable for both the X and the Y. And so in calibration, they're both calibration auto. And then down here, this is the button on the thumbstick. So that's button 3. So that now axis, so we have axis 3, axis 4, and axis 2. And so 2 is the trigger. And so trigger, so we have 2 things for trigger. This is the axis, and it's a linear axis. And then you have a button. So in other words, when the trigger button is pulled in so far, this button, it's going to turn on. And then we also have a menu button. So the menu button, I believe, is the B button. It's a button here at the top, if I remember correctly. But I wanted to kind of I wanted to go into do this stream to do some detail as to understand how X-Plane goes about using its how joysticks and touch controllers, how they get recognized, and the configuration files they use to actually do that. So I think I went over pretty much everything that I wanted to. Let me go down a little bit. Come on, no. Just slide down. Yeah. Yeah, so here you can see where this is touchpad, and then you have another group, the second group is stick. So basically that is similar to the thumbstick. But the real problem is this here, this, where are we? Nope, up. And this is the problem that Laminar is going to run into. It's exactly this. This ID, when X-Plane goes ahead and starts, it kind of finds this information. So this is for, let me look, left, yes. So this is for the left. So when it starts up, it's going to find this, this for the left touch controller. So it's holographed _1. So the right is the same thing, except it's _0. The G2 touch controller is completely different than the Windows Mixed Reality. And for whatever reason, whether it was HP, Valve, Microsoft, I don't know who, but they decided, let's not make them different. So in other words, this is a product ID. The product ID should match. If the controllers are different, that product ID should be different. It's not. So because of that, it's very, very difficult for X-Plane using what it's used for every other VR touch controller. Every other one, you could look at this information that's coming into it, and it could tell the difference. Whether it's a Valve, whether it's an Oculus, any of them, it could tell the difference. But somehow, it was decided that even though the controllers are completely different, it doesn't have a touchpad. That is a very big thing. We'll just call it the same. So I haven't found a better way other than doing this. Actually telling the Windows Mixed Reality joy file, you can't be used, and I created my own. It's the only way I know how to make this work. So I think I've covered that in a detail that that absolutely want to. And so cool. So where are we going to go next? So I'm going to close these two out. And where am I going next? Let me get over here. I haven't figured out a good way to move this window, but I'll just have to work through the problem. So, so that's what I wanted to go over, that part of it. So I'm going to go back. Hello. And just so I reiterate, so this is the folder where my explain is, resources, joystick configurations. That's where this information is. And so understand that's everything. So Pimax is in here, Cosmos is in here, the VKB, Gladiator, Warthog. I mean, all this stuff is in here. And all of the joystick files work actually quite similar. So I'm going to go back here and back one more. So I'm going to go to output. So if I double, no, please don't. So I'm going to go into preferences. And so you understand, this is really a stripped down version of X-Plane. So I don't have like any of my Ortho for XP. I don't have any of that stuff. It is a clean install. And this is a non-SteamVR version. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make it really clean. So I'm going to go here. And once again, if I'm on here and I click on the menu button of the Windows on the G2 controller, so that opens up this menu. So I'm going to delete the joystick file. So it's gone. So when X-Plane goes to start up, it's going to be, it will not have that file. Amen. So it's going to go ahead and have to create it. So if things work the way that they're supposed to work, when I end up getting in the hangar in the holodeck, both these controllers should be working. My other one went to sleep because I was not using it, so I'm gonna turn it back on. Make sure it's awake. All right, there we go. Heard it. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna start X-Plane. I'm not sure how this is gonna start. Come on, start. Oh, it did. So let me get over here. Back up. Okay. So I'm going to click on, I want to start up in Vulkan, and I by mistake started it up twice. If you start up 2 copies of X-Plane, it will basically say that Vulkan is not going to work. It's kind of hard because it shows up over to my left. There we go. Okay. So I'm going to pick this up a little bit. No. I just wanted to move it. Okay, so I'm going to go into settings. And I'm going to enable VR. So it's going to load VR. It's going to go through all this funny stuff. Now, I'm in the holodeck, but more than likely what you're seeing in the stream is you're still seeing the clip house. So I'm going to have to go ahead and disable that. Okay. So I had to go in and disable the clip house. And so now I'm in the hangar in the holodeck. So let's okay. So that's working. I can teleport around. And if I click on the upper button, I think it's the B button. So if I look over this way and click on it, the easel goes around. One thing I did see is that I'm too far up in the air. I'm really not sure why, because I should be able to put my hand down. That's the floor, and I should be touching the floor. So there's something happened with the floor setting. I'm not sure why, but it did. But the important part is I am in X-Plane, and I should I should be able to like click on the joysticks, and so we'll say this is the left one. Yep. So this is my left joystick, the X, Y, and X trigger. And if we go up here, so there's two X's up here that aren't being used, and one down at the bottom that's not being used. Over on over here, there should be the trigger button. This one down here at the bottom, that is the grip button. This is the top button. You can see when I push it, that would be the B button if I remember right. And then this is the A button. And this is my thumbstick. So what I've tended to do is I change this. So I changed this to basically the menu button. So when I push down on the thumbstick, I basically get the menu button. So if I click on edit and click on VR, and I click on the menu button and then click on apply. So basically now when I push on the thumbstick, that menu button for the left one works. So to prove that, if I'm like looking over here and I push on that easel comes over and follows me. It follows me. So the next thing we probably ought to do is we want to calibrate. So if I click on calibrate new, so it says G2 left. So if I move the thumbstick left and right, now I'm going to go up and down. Trigger. Ignore access. Ignore access. Ignore access. Next. And I forgot one little step. I'll go ahead and click on next. Finish. So I need to do one thing. I forgot to bring my chat into SteamVR. I'll just do it with a mouse. It'll be way quicker than trying to do it with my touch controllers. Be right back. Just give me a minute. Okay, for right now, that will be fine. So we went ahead and we calibrated the left controller. So I'm going to go over on the right controller. And so on the right controller, make sure we're working. Yep. And so I'm going to change that also to so make it the menu button, apply. Now notice when I did this, that this Missy Essential VR button reserved, thumbstick touchpad button, I no longer have one of them assigned, and but it doesn't hurt anything. So it's fine. It's fine like that. So if I click on done, whoop, let me go back. So I need to calibrate this. So just like I did with the left one, up and down, left to right, trigger, ignore access, ignore access, ignore access, next, next. Finish. So I should be good. And once again, it's just saying, hey, you ain't got that configured. It doesn't matter. So we're going to go to the cockpit. Hello. That's looking a little weird. Hopefully it don't matter. So I just jumped over into the, there we go. I just jumped over to my desktop to see if we're, how we're doing. So, I am, oh, okay, that's kind of cool. So, if I push down on the thumbstick, the flower menu shows up. And if I click on here, get in the pilot seat, it should put me pretty much where I would need to be. And so what do we have working? So if I go over here to advanced menu, and I can, if I pull down on the thumbstick, I can go up through the menus. If I go left, I can go up through the menus. The angle that this menu is on the top of this touch controller is really odd, because the normal position would be to hold the controller. Yeah, maybe it's okay. So I'm just kind of looking at it where you would be to like turn a knob or flip a switch. I guess that's okay. It just seems difficult to move the to kind of hold it in a position where you can run the thumbstick up and down and be in a comfortable position to hold the touch controller. It just seems the angle of the menu off the top of this thing seems odd. Doesn't mean it's wrong. It just seems odd to me. Understand, I'm normally using now. I've owned a Valve Index for a bit now. I don't think I've owned it for a year. Whenever it come out, I was one of the early adopters. So I'm used to how the Valve Index touch controller and the menus show up. It may be related to that. It absolutely may be related to that. But if I hit the thumbstick button again, it goes off. Now, if I go up and I hit the B button, the upper button here, it does exactly the same thing. So I basically mapped 2 of them buttons to do basically the same task. Now on the left one, I can do the same thing. And you notice here, when this is on, this is highlighted. So it kind of says this got pushed. It's a toggle. So on, off, on, off. And the same way on this one, same thing. So in one of the conversations, somebody on the org, somebody was asking, can you have the same functionality on both controllers? Absolutely. And let me go back over to the joystick and show. So if I click on here, and so this here is VR trigger. Whoops. So that's the left one. If I go to the right one, so that's the same thing going in X-Plane, whether it's this one or this one. And what I tend to do is this button here, the easiest button of the AB buttons to get onto, I'll normally map that to something I want to use. In my particular case, I map my right controller and my left controller to something different. On my right controller, when I hold this down, I want it to be. I have a program called Plane Command by Lee Baker, and basically it's a voice program. So in other words, it listens to my talking. So if I hold down on the on this button, it will listen to what I say. So I can make it also, the version that I have, it has custom commands. So I can make it do anything. So let me get back in the cockpit. So, and I don't have it installed on this version. This is a clean version with I think only one plugin. So if I would hold down on this button and I had Plane Command, I could say battery on, and it would turn the battery on for me. So in VR, it's like so slick, where the same way you can say push the button down, flip COM 1, and it would basically flip COM 1. It would flip it back and forth, as opposed to hitting this button here. So I basically, what I've shown is I basically deleted the joystick configuration file, and went into X-Plane pretty early in the process, clicked on settings. That took me to the to here. Something weird that happens. This happens every once in a while. Notice this one here. This one ain't working out. I don't know why, but sooner or later it will decide it's going to work. And you can see, like, that's working. But if I go out like that, nope, that ain't working. I don't know why it does this, but I know it does. And then finally it says, "Oh, I'm going to work now." No idea. I just know that it's something that I have seen. So if you see something like that, that's what happens. So if I click over here, and like I said, so you would map, so left button, right. So basically you would hit the button so you know which one it is, and then you click on edit, and over in here put in whatever whatever. In this case I would type in plane, and if I had it installed, it would show up as a command. Highlight the command, click on apply. That basically has will have configured that button to do that command. So let's go. I want to go next. Okay, gotta make sure I do click on the right button. So if I click on the menu button, so I'm gonna go back. So if I click on the menu button, try not to click on the Windows button here. Let me get over here. The Windows button is the one closest to the A button. Sometimes that'll work, sometimes it won't. But you can go into basically it will sometimes close X-Plane, which is kind of not really what you're trying to do. I heard something. I'm not sure what it was. Let me get back in. Don't know. But, so, yeah, let me get... So, I'm going to go to controller bindings. And I'm going to show bindings on controllers. So this shows, this is my right, left. So if I click on the grip button, you can see that lights up. If I click on the B button, you can see that lights up. A button, that lights up. Trigger, thumbstick value. Moving it around. So that basically kind of shows you how everything is mapped. Whoops. I didn't want to go completely out. Okay, let's go over this. So I have this at 102 right now. I'm thinking it really should be down around for my 2080. It probably needs to be around 60 or 70, but I'm gonna leave it right here. But look at this number. So that's 3444 by that. So if I go to video, and so you see that's exactly the same, and this is on custom. So if I click on per application video, notice that's the same. So if I would change in the other position the slider, this would change. So you actually have two places to set the multiplier. The result of that is shown on my FPS VR, the result of that. So that's the total value. So that my total super sampling is 118. So if I go, yeah, so let me take that down to, let me go to 50. Close. 46. So the valve index HP Reverb G2 is 2160 by 2160. So I turn this down by 46%. And if I go at per application, notice that's where that is. And if you notice, hello, quit doing that. The super sampling went down to 46. So that's the total value. So if I take and turn this one up, you see where that one's going up to? So you can control it kind of in both places. I normally leave this at 100 and adjust it in this general position, or on video in this upper upper section of that. Okay, so we go to controllers. So I'm going to click on controller bindings, and so here we look at, this is the HP motion controller, and it's on custom. So we edit. So this is the binding for X plane. So if I click on edit, it shows up. So it shows how everything is configured. So this emulated trackpad, I basically put that in the trash can so that it doesn't do anything on both sides. Yeah. Yeah. So when you see like there, you see how this is like highlighted, it's kind of expanded. This isn't, because this is not used, because that's a thumbstick. Those are buttons. There is no emulated trackpad. It doesn't exist. So if you need to make any changes, you go ahead and make them. And then you click on Save Personal Settings, Save Personal Binding. And then I think there's another one that says Save. So we're all good here. So I'll go back. You can get to the video settings right from this one too. So I return the game and I hit the menu button. Yeah. So when you initially hit this menu button over here, the one furthest to the right of the right controller, it brings you to this menu. So where you can get out of the game or return to the game. So we're back in the game, and we're back in the sim. So other important things. This is kind of like a SteamVR thing here. So if I go over here and I click on, so this kind of, there's settings. This is desktop menu, and these are just all the overlays I have. So I have a couple of so I have like about 3 overlays running. So I'm going to go back to the desktop. So what's important? If right now I went out of VR and then tried to go back into VR with this here running, many things could happen. One is one or both of your controllers might not work. Another thing that may happen is you may get a crash to the desktop. I've had all that happen. So if I am going to get out of VR, if I'm going to get out of VR and go back into VR, this cannot be running. So to demonstrate, hopefully all this will go okay. So yeah, I'll click on. So I'm going to turn this off. So yep. So basically I'm going to shut down SteamVR and X-Plane. So sooner or later I'm going to this view will go away. Okay, so I'm back in the interesting. So I'm basically back in the holodeck, and I'm back. I gotta do something. So I gotta turn the desktop on. So I had to turn this game capture back on so that you guys in the stream actually see like what what I'm streaming, because what it was is that it would have been because I had this disabled, it was using its OpenVR capture, which was capturing SteamVR. SteamVR was off, so it would have been blank. So I had to turn this back on. So since SteamVR is off now, with any luck, let me think here a minute. Oh, since I'm here, let's go look at output. And preferences. And let's go down a little bit. So remember when we started earlier in this stream, I deleted this. So what I'm going to do now is using the menu button, click, open in Notepad. This isn't intuitive at all. So the problem is I ain't seeing that. So over here, back up a little bit. So we'll grab that if I can. Oh, I want it to move. Just move. So for some reason, all my desktop windows went off my desktop and got hidden. Okay. So I think we're close to where I want to be. Oh man, this is so crazy. So you can see here that so we have. So remember, the _1 would be the left one, and this is the right one. So this is when X-Plane starts up, when I initially started it up, it populated this stuff. So I'm gonna try to. So gonna go. I want to go down. There's no easy way to. I would like if I could just. Oh, I can. Oh, that's kind of cool. That'll take a while. I gotta go down some. Where am I at? Not reverse. I want access. There should be. Use. Okay. So let me go down a little bit. All right. More useful information for people that are playing with joystick files. So when X-Plane started up, and I set and it populated the axis. If you remember earlier in the stream, the top two axes were set to none. So this is the very first joystick is here. So it's use and then 0. So I'm trying to remember how far down it goes. 25. Yes, 25. So axis is 0 through 25. Maybe 0 through 24, it's 25. But the two top ones are not used. They say none. These are all, and I cannot remember off the top of my head. These are all related to VR because the numbers are kind of higher. Like a joystick would be way lower than this. So you have 51, 49, 50. So and then the bottom one here, that one was none also. If you remember when we were in the joystick settings. So if I go up here, you'll see a duplicate here. So so it's 25. So 25 is the beginning. So that would be none. VR stuff, none. So that's the axes. So now we got to go find where the buttons are. And buttons. Okay, same deal. But on buttons, it's different because there's, I think, 160 buttons. So button 0 is reserved for the menu. 1 and 2 are none. Another one reserved for the menu. I believe this button would be the thumbstick, if I remember correctly. And this one here, reserve select, that is the trigger button. So if we slide up here, we should be 160. So okay, 160. So remember we started at 0 to 159, so that would be 160. And this should be a duplication. So the 0, I mean, this is the reserve menu, none, reserve menu, duplicated, that being the thumbstick, reserve select, that's the trigger button, and so that and all of this information, no matter whether it's a touch controller for VR or a joystick, it's all the same. This information, you know, in this case, that's all I have because I don't have my my pedals or my yoke. I don't have them plugged in. So all I have is touch controllers. But another important part is once this gets set, it won't change. It will change if you change a button. But if you don't, it won't go away. So it's kind of, once you get it in here, it's gonna be there. I mean, it's not going to leave. So yes, that is. Trying to think if there's anything else. No, these are the buttons, and that's, you can see it's button underscore use. And then the actual button number. And like I said, for every joystick, touch controllers, yokes, pedals, they all dedicate 160 buttons. On a pedal, most pedals don't have any buttons, but 160 are allocated. So needless to say, this goes on like forever. You know, I mean, because you can have quite a few joysticks. So, cool. So, since I'm in here, there's something. I wonder why my my floor changed. I'm going to see if I can fix that without breaking something. So I'm going to close this out. And if I click on the Windows button, and there's a floor setting. So select. It said select the launch. Let me try this one more time. Floor. There should be a way where I can actually Well, I thought that would have. It has in the past. I'm wondering why not. Floor. Select launch. Oh, okay. So it took me a while. Hopefully this is being streamed. So basically I'm bringing the floor up to me. And I want the floor, whoops. Oop. So basically I'm setting it so the floor is right where my where the round part of the touch controller is. Yes, that looks much better. So now, yes, that's where it should be. So so that is good. And I am missing so let me get over here. Okay, so we went over that, went back. Alrighty. So okay, now because the SteamVR isn't open right now, I should be able to successfully go into X-Plane. So it went right straight into X-Plane. And you are still, I'm quite sure you are still looking at the, you are still seeing, yeah, you're still actually seeing Windows Mixed Reality, so I'm going to turn that off. Okay. So, we should be, I got one more thing I got to get going here. Okay, back in here. Return the game. Yes. So I made sure that the Windows, just give me a second. The opacity of Chatty was a little poor. Oh, that's better. Okay. So we close it off. Okay. Alrighty. So let me put that out of the way. So so I have successfully started up from the Windows Mixed Reality portal from the Clip House. So I've successfully started up, went in X-Plane with no joystick file. It created it. I basically showed, early in the stream, I showed how the differences between the files that I created. And so I come into X-Plane, and then after I was in X-Plane, and so we can click on settings, and notice it doesn't say it needs to be calibrated. We have this error here that says missing essential VR buttons, but that is because I don't have I have two. Okay. Whoops. Put that out of the way. So if I push on the so that's the left. I push on the left thumbstick. That's the menu button, so that's working. So when I turn my head like this, it's gonna basically follow. It's gonna basically follow where my head is. So when I'm that's the left. I'm gonna go to the right, and the right's gonna be exactly the same thing. So, and now I click on done. Ignore. New flight. Start flight. And now it gets really weird in the headset. If you're not comfortable in VR, this is really disturbing because it's kind of translucent. So you're looking through things. You can still see the hanger. But when you move your head, the easel's basically attached to my head right now. So if I move my head, the easel moves around in front of me. It's really bizarre looking. And so now we are back in the cockpit, and I'm trying to figure out where I am on the desk. My desk disappeared from me. Where's we at here? Oh, yeah, I really got turned around. So I'm going to go ahead and get in pilot seat. Put this back where it should be. I got one too many chat windows open right now, but that's okay. So I was trying to figure out. It's so fun when you're in a VR headset. You can get so lost, especially now. Now, like I'm right in front of my desk, and I don't have my yoke in front of me. I don't have my pedals in front of me. So So I don't have any reference points, so it makes it difficult. So if I push down on the joystick, on the thumbstick button, the flower menu shows up. If you try to do this on the other one, it's not going to come on, because this can't be on to get one on this one. So if I turn that one off, turn this one on, that all works. So my goal for today was to, in detail, explain all the files that I have reworked, what basically they mean, and how, at least in the current state of affairs, for X-Plane with the G2 controller. And once again, I am on a non-Steam install of X-Plane. It's very important. They appear to be different. I don't know how different because I don't have Steam. So all what I'm explaining is for a non-Steam version. And and hopefully this stream, you know, and I'm going to, whenever I can, I gotta wait like 24 hours or something like that, but I will move it over to YouTube. And I don't think on this one I did. Every once in a while I tend to ramble pretty badly. I hopefully I didn't ramble too much, but I really wanted to try to do this in like some really serious detail. So it's a little more obvious. And like I said, I don't know if there's, I'm kind of interested to see if Laminar can find a better way to do this, because kind of HP, Valve, and Microsoft kind of like dropped a bit of a mess in their lap, due to the fact that, as far as X-Plane is concerned, the old Windows Mixed Reality controllers and the new G2 controllers, they look the same. They can't tell them apart. So my only solution was to basically rename the original ones to _back, create my own that matched what the G2 controllers are, to make it work, and it absolutely works. I mean, the sad part about me is I use index controllers, so I actually have a completely new install that goes ahead and that I can actually test the G2 controllers, because my normal install that I have Ortho for XP and all that stuff in, all my plugins, all that stuff, I'm using index controllers, and they have their own quirkiness, but I figured out how to make them work too. So I think that's I'm trying to think what I want to do here. I think, yeah, I want to go back to the desktop just one more time. So what's important? For this procedure to work correctly, if you go out of VR and you want to use VR again in X-Plane, this cannot be running when you start. When you first go into the VR, this cannot be running. Whether that will change later, actually, let me. Whether that will change later when if Laminar can figure out something different, I don't know that. But I know right now, with the procedures that I've explained in this stream, that is the most important thing, is this cannot be playing. It has to be off if you're going to start up X-Plane. And when you start up X-Plane, whether from the desktop or from the clip house, either way, it's kind of irrelevant. But when you start up in VR, this has to be off, and X-Plane will start this. So, I think. No, I don't want to become famous. I'm already famous. It don't matter. So I think I'm going to jump back in the plane. Kind of just do a quick startup. Kind of make sure everything works. Hopefully. So, and actually I gotta do just a little bit of work here to get myself lined up. Wow. Whoops. Just trying to get myself lined up here. So right now, like I'm sitting in front of my desk, and so I have the touch controller touching the desk. So basically, what I have is I have this virtual cockpit. I have this in front of my desk. So right now, I can easily hit every switch, all these, yoke, the flaps. I can come down and get the trim, and nothing is blocking my view, and it's all in how you get yourself positioned into the cockpit, and I've used a tool called VR Tools. I think I have it installed here. Plug in, yes, VR Tools. So hotspot editor. So this is like one of the coolest tools I've ever gotten. So if I highlight pilot seat. So basically what this little tool does, it basically allows you to modify the VR config file for the airplane that you're flying. And so these buttons here, you can go up and down. This goes forward and back. This goes left and right. So it allows you to basically adjust that. And then when you're all done, you can save it. So when you go to when you come back in the plane, or when you initially come in the plane, you're going to be configured correctly. So for me, in a 172, and the other thing that's important is if you're in the proper place, all these gauges become a lot more readable. The default is not that way. The default, you're further back. You're actually back by I bet you almost a foot. So, and you're also too high. Yes, too high. You're seeing too much of the cowling. When I was training, it's important if I look out this way, I want to be able to see out from underneath the wing. The default position, when I looked out, I was up here someplace. I was like looking at this door. I'm like, that ain't right. So that gets you all in the right place. But it allows you also to use a controller and like I said, I'm right in front of my desk. And but everything is clear, so I can go ahead and turn on this. Start up the airplane. Turn on the avionics.
Erie INTL Tom Ridge FLD Information Zulu. 1700 Zulu weather. Wind 280 at 9, visibility more than 10. Sky conditions 2000 overcast, temperature 3, dew point -1. Altimeter 3008. Arriving runway 24, departing runway 24. Advise on initial contact you have Zulu.
But these touch controllers are absolutely working. So I can like either go like this. Should be 730, something like that. That should be south. Yeah, got it. And so it allows so these are working. I mean they're working. They're working as good as they could work in X-Plane right now, and that's a pretty much all I probably all I need to say. But like I said, I will go ahead and I will go ahead and make a VOD. It automatically gonna make a VOD, and then it will. I'll push it over onto YouTube, and so at a later date people can look at it. So I'm going to go ahead and kill off the avionics because my instructor drilled into my head to do that. Pull back the mixture, kill the engine, die. Master's off, ignition off. Okay. So I think. What time is it? Oh, okay. So I think I'll call it a day. One other thing. Let me look. That ain't looking too bad. So I wanted to look at the video right now. So that's X-Planes. So let me close that and go to General. Yeah, and I have. Yeah, so I have that a little bit below 50. So that looks correct. So yeah, so when I look at my SteamVR super sampling, that's like at 46%. So let me go back, kind of reiterate this. So this is set at 100%, but in the general setting, that is this setting. So this isn't, if I move this up, that will go up, and this will, whoops, and this will go up above 46%. But I haven't quite yet found a happy medium where I am. With clouds like today, I mean, it's been pretty overcast for a little bit. Let me jump outside. Yeah, it's really overcast right now. So so that's definitely taken a hit on my frame. So back in the cockpit, figure out where I am. One more time. Yeah, that's better. Okay, look. I think that's it. So I'm going to return. I'm going to go to the desktop and go ahead and so there's like a couple of ways to shut it down, but you could easily shut down X-Plane like this. No? So I'm going to shut down SteamVR. So what's going to happen is over here, I will actually right now turn this on. And then I'm going to say, okay. So I should end up in the cliff house with any luck. Yes, I am. Let me get over here in front of OBS. Make sure everything's still working the way I think it should be. Yes. So basically I had to turn on the game capture, and that's capture in OBS. It's capturing the cliff house. So, and also SteamVR is off. So once again, let me go over here. Back up a little bit. And start up X-Plane. X-Plane, I was in VR, so I should go back into VR. The controllers are so hard to tell when you're trying to like double click if it worked or not. But okay. Yes. Do one thing. And you can tell I'm in SteamVR now, not the cliff house, because you can see this. That's that right there. So you can see that. So return the game. So the controllers continue to work. I'm clicking on the thumbstick. So I look over here. ESO matches, follows me. So once again, back to settings. Reverb left. Left. Right. Click on done. Ignore the craziness. New flight. Start flight. Waiting. Back in the cockpit. That's better. Back in the cockpit. Give me a second. I heard you. X-Plane VR, yes. I had to get my chatty window working. Yeah, so this is X-Plane 11 5.1 point beta 3, and this is VR with the Valve, with the HP Reverb G2, and using their touch controllers in VR. So there's been quite a few people that have been having problems on xplane.org with trying to get this to work. So I decided to take some time and kind of explain what all the files are, and that's like way earlier in the stream. What all the files are, what I had to modify, how I got it to work. And I have currently, I think, went in and out of VR about 3 or 4 times, and every time when I come back in, things are working as they should. So it is quirky. You have to follow there's certain do's and don'ts, but if you follow them, it absolutely works. So I think I'm seeing right now is I have the super sampling turned down a little bit, and I'm seeing quite a bit of shimmer or anti-aliasing, I think it is. So I think that's kind of relevant, is because I think, let me look, where's my graphics at? Yeah, so high. Yeah, anti-aliasing, let me, hello? Come on. See if that makes any difference. Probably not. Better. Not a lot. Just a little bit better. But, yeah. Okay. So, I think I've done pretty much what I wanted to accomplish. And we'll kind of wrap the stream. And for anybody who kind of stumbles into this either on YouTube or the VOD, either on YouTube or on Twitch, if you want to kind of follow when I stream, on X-Plane I only stream in VR, and I also am using Microsoft Flight Simulator, but I am waiting. I have streamed in the past using TrackIR, but I have I'm not flying today. No, I'm sorry. I'm not flying today. It is way too overcast. But I'll move that over, and you can go ahead and if you follow, you can tell when I'm online and when I go live. So, but yeah, it's way too lousy today. So, this is more of an instructional stream. Thank you. And yeah, this is more of like an instructional stream to try to help some of the guys over on explain.org that are struggling to try to get their HP Reverb G2 controllers working as well as mine do. So hopefully that I succeeded in doing that, but I'll have to wait for feedback to find out. Without that, I think I'm gonna go ahead and call the stream an end. And thanks to everybody who watches in the future and watches over on YouTube. You all have a great day, and I will so.